Another set of questions for this is 2024. 2024 is. Let's see what will be our scores. Hopefully, we get something really good. So let's see the first question. Yay! Let's see the first question. The first question is this: which of the following sources of energy is non-renewable? Which of the following sources of energy is non-renewable? So we have coal, solar, wind, uranium-236. So which of them is non-renewable? So for non-renewable, coal is non-renewable, and uranium is also non-renewable. So go for I and IV. Let's check. Good. So we've got 1 out of 1. 1 out of 1. Next question. The building block of a material with the smallest unit of matter that retains the properties of an element is that retains the properties of an element. It's an atom. Good. 2 out of 2. So far, we've gotten perfect square. Perfect score. 2 out of 2. Now we have oil from a mechanic workshop accidentally spilled into a pool of water which was breeding mosquitoes. After some time, the pool of water was no longer breeding mosquitoes. Which control method may have been deployed? Is it biological? It's definitely not biological, because if it was biological, then we are expecting another living thing to be used. Then it's not a chemical. Environmental and genetic, we go for chemical. Yeah, so chemical is the correct answer. Going back to back. So grasshopper. Now we have our next question. Grasshopper management is crucial because of all the following reasons, except grasshopper management. Why is it important to manage grasshopper? Grasshopper management, why? Is it damage of crops? Yeah, grasshopper actually damage crops. Incomplete metamorphosis. Ecosystem destruction. And livestock. I'll go for ecosystems. Good. So that gives us 4 out of 4. A perfect score. Our next question is, a hunter experiences a backward force upon firing a gun. Well, I'm coming. Let me set up this. A farmer. Let's get this right here for us. So what's the answer for this question? A hunter experiences a backward force upon firing a gun. Which of the following, which of Newton's laws of motion is demonstrated in this situation? Which of Newton's laws? It's definitely not Newton's first law of motion. Yeah, so we'll go for Newton's third law of motion. Good. So according to Newton's third law of motion, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So definitely that is what is being demonstrated here. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Let's fix this one here. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Good, let's move on. Next question. Question number 6. Which of the following sets of devices operates on the principle of magnetism? Principle of magnetism. We have loudspeakers, compass, alarms. As the first set, they have loudspeakers again, alarms, LCD TVs. Compass, loudspeakers, LCD TVs. I'll go for C. What do you think? I'll go for C. Let's go, let's go. Oh, no way. What did I go for? Loudspeakers, compass, and alarms. So TVs do not have magnets in them. Well, I thought they do because of the speakers and the television. Okay, so we've gotten one wrong. Which of the following elements has 4 electron shells? Which of the following elements have 4 electron shells? We have potassium, aluminum, phosphorus, and boron. Oh, obviously, it's potassium because potassium has atomic number 19. So if atomic number is 19, the electronic configuration will be 2881. So the shell should be 4. So let's check. Good. So we've got this right. Our next question. A livestock farmer wants to achieve good health for animals being reared. Which of the following activities should be undertaken by the farmer? Which of the following activities must be undertaken by the farmer? I. Have vaccination schedules for the animals. Provide balanced ration for the animals. Provide good sanitation for the animals. Good health. Wow, all the 3 make sense. Good, so we've gotten D. Number 8, number 9. So we've gotten 7 out of 8. Yeah, on course. Canned foods and drinks have expiring dates on them. Canned foods and drinks have expiring dates on them. The hazard involved in taking an expired drink is food poisoning, impaired hearing, poor circulation. Oh, of course, this is food poisoning. Yeah, food poisoning. This is no-brainer. This question is a no-brainer question. Question 10. 2 unknown solutions labeled A and B were brought to a JHS 3 class. It was observed that in solution A, red litmus paper changed color to blue. Red litmus paper changed color to blue. So that means the solution is a BECE. Okay. While solution B, red litmus paper retains its color. So solution B is an acid. What would be the content of solution A? Oh my geez. So you have car battery, salt solution, baking soda. So car battery fluid should be an acid. Baking soda, salt solution. Good. So baking soda. So baking soda is a base simply because we've gone for baking soda because of the fact that it changed red litmus paper blue. Let's look at the explanation. So base turns red litmus paper blue. Baking soda is a base. Good. Next question. A student who complained of stomach upset was given first aid with MgOH2, magnesium hydroxide, boldly written on it. What would be the common name of the first aid the student was given? So a student who complained of stomach upset was given first aid with MgOH2, boldly written on it. What could be the common name of the first aid given to the student? What do you think? Let me increase the brightness. So we have the brightness being increased. What could be the first aid? I'll go for milk of magnesia. Trisilicates? Martin Levasseur, no. Milk of magnesia. Yeah, so 10 out of 11. Oh, no, wait. Next question. Question 12. A bowl of water on a gas stove was initially cold. A bowl of water on a gas stove was initially cold. It became warm after some time. What was the mode of heat transfer in the water? Convection. Good. So it's not radiation, it's not conduction, because conduction has to do with 2 solids. Yeah, so obviously for this question is convection. Next question. Carbon dioxide, nitrogen. It's obviously going to be nitrogen because air is a mixture of gases, and The percentage of nitrogen is 78%. Nitrogen is 78%. So basically, it's the solvent in air. And most of the time, in mixtures, the one that occurs in the largest quantity happens to be the solvent. A natural phenomenon that illustrates the dispersal of light is, easy peasy, rainbow. Dispersal of light is demonstrated by what? Rainbow. But let's confirm. Good. So far I've gotten 13 out of 14. You're on course. 13 out of 14. Next question. When a stick is dipped into a pool of water, it appears to be longer than its length? No. This question is just basically about refraction of light. And refraction of light, when a stick is dipped into a pool of water, it appears to bend towards the surface. It appears to bend straight in the water. It appears to be seen straight in the water. The C is wrong. The A is also wrong. Be longer than its length. It's out. Bend away from the surface. Bend towards the surface. Air to water. Water is denser than air, right? What? Bends towards the surface. Okay. So when a stick is dipped into water, a pool of water, it bends towards the surface. Okay, move on. Which of the following electrical appliances can convert electrical energy to heat energy? In fact, electric iron can do that. Electrical energy to heat energy. Water heater and kettle. I think all of these three should be able to do that. So kettle, water heater, and electric iron. The consequences of the greenhouse effect on humans include flooding of coastal cities, desertification of fertile areas, increased number of storms, increased use of fossil fuel, increased use. The consequence of greenhouse effects on humans. Increases of fossil fuel, no way. So flood is true. Desertification of fertile areas, global warming, greenhouse effects, it's also true. Then increased number of storms as an effect. Storm. So which of these answers are we going for? I, and IV. Let's go for this. No way. Oh, I see. So storm has nothing. So it basically means that greenhouse effect has nothing to do with storm. So it should be this. That is flooding of coastal cities and desertification of fertile areas. Storm has, or greenhouse effect has nothing to do with storms. Interesting. Cockroach in a cupboard were killed after an insecticide has been sprayed. Cockroach in a cupboard were killed after an insecticide has been sprayed. The insecticide reached the cockroach by the process of, easy peasy, diffusion. Yeah, this is basic. This is basic. Diffusion. Next question. Which of the following nursery beds is suitable for a flood-prone area? Flood-prone area. It should be raised bed. Because if the area is flood-prone, that means there are high probability of flood. So it should be raised bed so that it should, so obviously. Obvious. Question number 20. Which of the following natural cycle directly involves cycles directly involves the sun. Water cycle, yes, it directly involves the sun. Carbon cycle, and then nitrogen cycle. Yeah, carbon cycle, photosynthesis. So there is also a factor out there. So I and I are true. Then the nitrogen cycle, lightning. So when it comes to nitrogen cycle, lightning is also a factor. So could you go for lightning as also? So let me go for no way. So nitrogen cycle, I thought for the fact that lightning fixed nitrogen in the soil, nitrogen cycle should be part. That's what I thought. But I was actually wrong. Okay. So carbon cycle and water cycle are the answer. Okay, next question. The primary purpose of respiration in humans is to take in oxygen, release carbon dioxide, capture, regulate body temperature. No way. Release carbon dioxide. Good. Nitrogen deficiency in soil causes poor seed formation, yellowing of leaves, purple coloration, fruit drop. I'll go for yellowing of leaves as the answer. An electric bulb is rated 0.5 ampere, 120 volt. Determine the power produced when the bulb is turned on. Determine the power produced when the bulb is turned on. 60 watts. So basically the power produced will be the rating times the voltage. So that is 0.5 times 120. That gives us 60 watts. Good. 0.5 times 120. That gives us 60. The following processes are chemical changes, except mixing of acid or crumpling of paper is not chemical. This is obviously not the case. The next question that we have is, which of the following statements best describes the term green economy? It includes reduced ecological services. It includes loss of biodiversity, reduced carbon emission. Green economy, reduced carbon emission. Good. Yeah. The energy transformation that occurs when sodium hydroxide is dissolved in water is sodium hydroxide is dissolved in water. Heat to potential. Chemical to heat energy. Good. So if you have done that before, there was one experiment I did in school with my students that there was pellets of sodium hydroxide. When I place it into water and whilst holding the beaker, you realize that the beaker tends to become hot. The beaker tends to become really hot. So it's chemical to heat energy. And normally it's a chemical change also. And one of the changes that occurs during chemical changes, change in heat or temperature. The digestion of rice in humans starts in the mouth, obviously, because it contains carbohydrates. And every substance that contains carbohydrates, the digestion of that substance starts in the mouth. A substance that could be used in a large-scale treatment of domestic water is hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, chlorine. So let's move on. A treatment, a substance that could be used, go for chlorine. Yeah, Chlorophyll helps plants absorb energy from the sun as they undergo the process of photosynthesis. It is located in a structure called chloroplast, meaning chlorophylls contain chloroplast. Yeah, that's really true. Chlorophylls contain chloroplast. Oh, yeah. 26. Oh. An electrical engineer was in your school to replace a 20-watt bulb with a 50-watt bulb. Use this information to answer the question below. The unit inscribed on the bulb means it's power. Yeah. So if you are given that the bulb's power rating, like the watts that tells you that that's the power rating of the bulb. Yeah. Basically. So the SI unit of power is watts. So that is why we chose the answer. An electrical engineer was in your school to replace a 20-watt bulb with a 50-watt bulb. The 50-watt bulb is likely to increase the brightness in the room. Likely. Increase the amount of electricity consumed. Likely. Destroy the habitat of pests. Ooh, that is tricky. The 20 watts is likely to destroy. For the I, no brainer. But the third one, destroy the habitat of pests. I didn't go for that. Good. I don't see how a 50-watt bulb destroys the habitat of pests. Well, question number 32. The following devices works based on the principle of pressure in fluids, except water pump, pressure in fluid, drinking straw, water pump, pressure, flutes, siphons. I see. Good. So that's the correct answer. Flutes, siphons, drinking straws, and water pumps have basic principles of pressure and fluids. Question 33. In making ornaments and jewelry, non-reactive metals are preferred because they do not react to atmospheric oxygen. This is no brainer. No brainer. 22, 23, 34. A metallic saddle was left in a boiling soup. Metallic saddle. Ladle or saddle. Was left in a boiling soup after some time. The handle becomes hot. This is because the particles in the saddle undergo rapid random motion. Contains free electrons which are able to transfer heat as separated by large distances. Rapid motion. Woo! They undergo rapid motion. I'm cooked. The simplest way of making well water suitable for laundry is adding copper sulfate, filtering, boiling, adding chlorine. Oh, boiling. Making, well water is a hard water. Oh, yeah. So it depends on the type of water you're considering. It should be boiling. A poultry farmer observed that the layers were producing thin-shelled eggs. Use the information to answer the question below. The defect identified is mostly caused by deficiency in zinc, what's that? Photosphere. Magnesium and calcium. Wow. It's calcium, thin-shelled egg. So if your poultry is laying eggs that have thin shells, know that there is a high probability that they are deficient in calcium. Calcium deficiency. A poultry farmer observed that the layers were producing thin-shelled eggs. So what should they give them? What should they give them? Oyster shell meal. I'll go for oyster shell meal. Yeah, because of the fact that they are deficient in calcium. Which of the following pairs of energy sources is environmentally friendly? Coal is out. Wind, no way. Biogas and thermal. I'll go for wind and biogas. A student is to measure 120 centimeters square of a sodium hydroxide solution. What instrument could be used? 120? Measuring tape, the why? I was expecting something like, now measuring tape is off. It's off the charts. A mother took her child to the hospital, and upon investigation, it was noticed that the child's diet was lacking in zinc. What could this result in? Decreased growth in a child, anemia, and constipation, inability to the body to fight infections. Decreased growth. I'll go for this one. No way. Decreased growth in a child. Okay, so basically that brings us to the end. Oh boy, gotten 33. So that's 32 out of 40. I've gotten 8 wrongs. Wow. That's terrible. So this figure is an illustration of the longitudinal section of the mammalian heart. Study it carefully and answer the questions that follow. So what are the parts? Yeah. So basically that ends our multiple choice part of the question. And we got 32 out of 40. Not bad. Neither is it very good. So we'll be continuing with